Hello guys, and welcome to the Legions of Death unboxing, an incredible expansion for Conquest. Let me tell you something. Robert and I have been playing Conquest casually over the past, 6 months, year?
Just 6 months.
Just a while. Not like a hugely competitive, like, oh, I gotta go to the tournaments, gotta go to the regionals and crush.
It's a slow burn.
But it's a slow burn. And with this box, I think Robert has probably gotten more into the game than previously thought possible.
For sure.
Because as some people probably will agree, the Necrons are the faction in Conquest, in Warhammer in general, that have a special something about them that really makes you just excited about the universe, right?
Yeah.
So what is it about the Necrons?
For me, it's just that they are one of the most, I guess, in line with what Conquest is or 40K is in total. Just that
utter suffering.
They're slaying things. That's all they're really there for. That's all they're interested in. So let's do that.
Now, there's a couple of questions the Necrons bring to the table. One, undead robots. The most confusing concept to me imaginable. I mean, truly.
Yeah, doesn't really make sense.
Number two.
Don't look for logic
Number two, let's talk about
unique history.
I do want to take just a second and talk about this enslavement concept. So here's how the Necrons work in Conquest. At the beginning of your deploy phase, you have this handy dial, and it has every faction symbol on it, aside from obviously Necrons and Tyranids. And that is a dial that you set at the beginning. And then you can play units and bring into play units of that faction, and then there's some other
because you can splash anything of the factions.
Anything. So
like plurality as well.
So I could have a deck that has Necrons, obviously, and then like Eldar, Tau, Astra.
There's no restraint.
Let's say I have 4 factions in my deck, and then at the beginning of the thing, I set this dial, and then I can only play factions on the dial.
Correct.
So like, okay, this turn I can play Tau units, this turn I can play Astra units, this turn I can play et cetera, et cetera. So the deck construction is going to be very bizarre for these guys. Correct. You're going to have to figure out how best to do it and how that synergy is going to happen. But also, this is an enslavement concept.
Yes.
How does that, from what you've explained to me, Necrons really are not necessarily about enslaving, they're about utter destruction.
Correct. I mean, like, to be sure, there is a bit, but it's like, which are they really about? It's about the slaughter, that kind of a thing. They're exterminators, more or less, terminators, as they kind of look like.
So we can assume the enslavement is essentially the micro moment before the termination.
Sure. I mean, it's sort of like, I think there was even a scene in the Game of Thrones series where Tywin was getting onto somebody for killing prisoners, and it's like, they're able-bodied, we could have made use of them right until they die, kind of a thing. And that's the same sentiment with the Necrons. Your death is assured, but for the next 30 days, you might be doing some hard labor.
All right, well, let's with that in mind, let's go ahead and...
Isn't that exciting?
Let's kick it off with there's 2 warlords in this box. You'll cover the first and I'll cover the second one. Then we'll go through all the cards and actually look at what the Necrons bring to the table.
Sure.
It's very interesting.
All right, so first up, we have Anrakir the Traveler, very nice name. He's soldier traded. He's a 2 attack, 7 health, and then he's also 7/7 for cards and resources to start. And then he has a deploy action that reads, deploy the topmost unit card in a target discard pile, limit
Robert,
once per phase.
It's so good. First of all, once per phase, wild. That's
amazing.
That's not once per round, that's once per phase, as you all know. Second, just the ability to, this is card advantage just baked right in. Even if it wasn't your opponent's discard pile, it's just quite simply, you no longer have to spend the card cost of playing a unit out of hand. You can pull it right from the discard pile. The utility in that is immense. I mean, it just is. It always is in card games, and so I think he has huge potential already. Yeah,
that's a super potent effect right off the bat, and then worth noting on his bloodied side, he's a 1/6.
1/6, standard weakling there.
But
2/7 is pretty strong.
2/7 is very strong.
It's reasonable.
And then he is taking a departure from most of the signature squads that we're accustomed to, in that his signature unit, army unit that is, has 5 rather than 4 copies. So
talk about that.
Something's already up.
Something's up with this guy.
And I bet we're going to learn what exactly when we just read it. So let's do that. He's a 2-cost army entitled Pyrian Eternals. Sounds pretty awesome. 1 command icon, 1 attack, 1 health, soldier traded, and then reading, for each card named Pyrian Eternals in your discard pile, this unit gets +1 attack and +1 hit points.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it just...
5.
Already, okay, we can make some guesses. Five. We can make some guesses on this. One is that there's going to be some shenanigans involving the discard pile
already
with this guy.
Yes.
Okay, we can determine that. Number two is late game, those are going to be better and better and better. Because
Correct.
you're going to discard more and more.
Yep.
And you're also going to have to balance the popping them in with his ability, the Warlord ability, and making them all weaker.
Correct.
As opposed to leaving them in and making one or two stronger.
That's right.
So I like what's going on here. What else we got?
Weigh the scales. All right, next up is a support. It's called Slumbering Tomb. It costs 1. It's at location traded, then reading action. Exhaust this support to draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards from your hand.
Yep.
So right there, I mean, just straight up a cycling effect, as it's generally referred to.
Powering the whole engine.
Powering the whole engine. What we already saw with the Pyrian Eternals, but then I'm sure 1,000 other things as well.
Now, what I will say out of the gate is that a lot of times we get to these signature supports and you read the card and it's like, wait a minute, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
Like, this is game-breakingly incredible. And this one is not that, right? Well, so there's some Warlords where it's like, dude, if this comes out, like the game is over.
I would give a caveat to that. I think in general, we're at any other faction, that would be 100% correct. But I think, as we're kind of already alluding to, as we read more and more of these cards, your ability to put more into discard and get more in turn immediately will become a greater and greater benefit to you. Right. So though this might seem kind of like, even though it's probably ideal most of the time, regardless of faction, for Necrons and with this Warlord, it could be very well the bee's knees.
And it honestly is probably what a signature support should be, which is a smoothing of the strategy rather than a breaking open.
Yeah, you said it, man.
You said it.
Woo.
I said it. I'm glad we agree. That's why we talked.
Next up, we have our event. Again, only 1 copy of this. It's called Awake the Sleepers. Cost 1, 1 shield, tactic traded reading, action. Shuffle any number of Necron cards from your discard pile into your deck.
I get it.
Beautiful.
Okay. So things that you might want to use over and over again, you're available now.
That's
you
correct.
can do that. Maybe some events, maybe some splashes that you.
But any number. It could be your
Necrons only, right?
Your entire discard pile back in.
Whoa.
So heck.
Yeah, I mean, what is that?
Just do it.
And it's selective, so you can choose anything that you want, put it back in?
That was one of the things I was scratching my chin over. I'm not honestly entirely sure, but I would assume you could almost pick and choose.
What does it say? What does it say?
Okay, let's read it again. Shuffle any number of Necron cards from your discard pile into your deck.
All right, so here's the weird thing now.
Is it in order?
I've seen this in games.
Skip that one, go to that one.
I've seen this in games before. Is there going to be a strategy with Necrons where you can discard your entire deck and then shuffle in only the things you want to draw in the future? Is it possible? That's the question that I'm asking. Will it be possible with the cards that we see?
We'll see.
Further into this expansion? If yes, I'm a little scared.
That's already like something to be worried over.
Yeah, I mean, increase your chances of drawing.
That's a very potent effect. And then lastly, out of the signature squad, of course, it's the Relic. It's cost 1, 3 shields as per usual. Pyrian, War Scythe, War Gear, and Weapon traded, and then reading attached to your Warlord. Attached unit gets +1 attack, and then reaction. After attached unit is declared as an attacker, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Just discard them.
Well, I mean, already it's not unlikely.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only dealing with 50 cards.
It's the old pump and dump right here, man.
And now if you get both that and the support out, you could get...
Art on this card is fantastic, by the way.
You could get down. That's crazy.
Yeah, you could
Is
totally
that really
get
what
down.
Weird. Okay, so
if they're already doing it this much, we have to assume that that is exactly what they want to do. They want these things to be buried. That's kind of a theme with Necrons. They're buried. They rise, literally are rising out of the earth.
Okay, so we've seen the mechanics are essentially doing that, and you also always have that Warlord who can snipe the things off the top that you just discarded, put them into place. So it's kind of a weird ambushy style play as well. All right, so let's look at. He seems more of like a techie utility kind of. Just like playing the fundamentals of the Necrons. Yeah. Let's look at what old Nahumek is bringing to the table. First of all, it looks just 1,000 times cool. Yes. I mean, just looks like the kind of
He's like, they don't show the full bleed of the art, but...
Does he have a tank body?
Yeah, he's got like this hoverboard, surfboard body below the waist, and he's just kind of skimming around.
Wicked. All right, so let's look at him. He's a warrior. He's Sawtech traded. He's 2/6 and a 7/7. It's a pretty standard Warlord here. Has a reaction. After the combat phase begins, a target army unit at this planet gets a -X HP until the end of the phase. X is the number of non-Necron factions among units you control. Across the entire thing. Among units you control. It doesn't say among units you control at this planet. It says
across
units
the board.
You control.
HQ, any planet, blah, blah, blah.
Now here's the important thing to note. Neutral units do not count for this number.
Okay.
Right? So it's literally only factioned things.
Nice.
So non-Necrons. So if you have one Tau unit, X is 1. If you have a Tau unit and Eldar unit, X is 2. So this is a burn. This is a burn strategy.
A burn, yeah,
minus
totally.
X
Straight
hit
up
points.
burn.
So a totally different
No real defense
way to
against
play.
that, I assume.
No,
Yeah, you get burnt, you're out.
That's the whole point of that crazy mechanic.
I
Bloodied
dislike
Side has a 1/6 standard issue. So let's see what he's bringing to the table. We got the Destroyer Cultist, a 3-cost army in his signature squad. Warrior and Sawtech traded. 1 command icon, a 1 attack, 4 hit points. So tough guys.
Yeah.
The unit gets +1 attack for each non-Necron faction among units you control.
Oh, nice.
So,
Dang.
whereas we're all about the discard pile over here on your side of the Warlord spectrum, this guy's all
Over
about
here.
putting as many non-Necrons and diversifying his board as much as possible.
It's a sound investment plan.
Sound investment. I mean, this would get to a point where, like, these guys are really, really tough to deal with, right? Like, what if X is 4? It's a 4/4 for 3 with a single command icon?
And that's one of the things that you, like we're kind of alluding to already with the deck building, and that's like you have flexibility with the dial. Every turn you can set it to something new, so what's already in your hand should be easy to get back out, but drawing that diversity is another matter.
Absolutely,
so,
man. And even having the kind of ability to change this attack value
correct.
in
just
on the
one.
fly,
yeah,
right?
there's 2 or 3 of those guys in play already,
Like,
and it's like, boom,
I have something from my
+1.
hand, maybe I ambush something in, or I have something, and now this guy gets an extra attack, and there's an extra unit, so the math can really get screwed up.
Yeah,
on this.
that's dangerous.
Let's move on to Obedience, 2-cost support. It's weird that we have a support called Obedience. It's like, what is that?
It's
How
such a prevalent
It's a
theme.
concept.
Yeah.
How can a support be? It's an
Will
upgrade,
obey.
and it says reaction after a phase begins, any phase begins,
Okay.
exhaust the support to move a non-Necron unit you control to a target planet.
Nice.
Movement effects in this game, guys.
Man.
Every time. I underestimate them every time. They're always incredible.
Yeah, you think mobile's good. That's better.
We have 2 of a tactic called Hate. It is an X-costed event with a single shield. It's tactic. It says deploy actions. This is during deployment phase. Destroy a target army unit with a faction symbol that matches your enslaved faction. X is that unit's printed cost. So
Okay.
I set my dial. Let's say I'm playing against a Tau guy.
Okay.
I set my dial to Tau, and then I pay X, whatever unit I want to destroy, and it's gone.
That is really good, honestly. That's really good.
It's just the most targeted removal you could imagine.
As good as that is, you wonder, well, there's no wonder, rather, why they
don't
have never
wonder.
really embraced any more positive concepts.
I don't wonder
They're-
anything.
They're not
I
greeting
know.
with hugs
There's
or
no
anything.
need for love when that is so effective. And then finally, we have what really kind of is getting back into these one-of cards being the juice
Yes.
for a certain warlord, and that is the Staff of Command.
The GG juice?
A 0 cost. I won't say GG juice. It's more. It's heavy smoothing.
Okay.
It's heavy smoothing.
Heavier than what we saw over here?
Yeah,
On
I
my
think so.
side? Okay.
0 cost attachment, 3 shields, Staff of Command, obviously it's unique, war gear and a weapon, attach it to your warlord, very simple, it's an action, exhaust it, set your enslavement dial to another faction.
Oh, man.
Instant. So like, let's say we pair this with Hate, right?
Just exhaust the attachment?
Exhaust the attachment,
Holy
change the enslavement dial.
smokes.
So we haven't even
That's really good.
We haven't
I like
even
that.
gotten to the rest of the cards, right? But just using Hate as an example of this. During the deploy phase, let's say I set my dial to Astra. I play out 3 Astra guys, then I kneel this, I set it to a different faction, use Hate, boom. It's just like or use Hate, then set it to a different thing and start deploying those. It's unreal.
It is unreal.
The synergy that this has with its own signature squad and basically the utility that it brings.
Yeah.
I think it's unrivaled.
That's amazing, honestly. And to me, I would agree. That's not a GG kind of a relic. It's very good, and it will give you a lot more flexibility and your opponent, hopefully some headaches.
Heavy smoothing, and I like this concept, heavy smoothing.
Heavy smoothing.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, heavy smoothing. Weird
Bring
concept.
out the
ultimately.
sandpaper.
Could be weird. All right, so Robert, you had the utility guy. I had the more aggressive kind of burn,
Utility belt.
a diversified portfolio is what that guy's all
he's
about.
the utility belt.
He likes to enslave a lot of little other factions, whereas your main guy there, he's just enslaving whatever he wants and making
even
it work.
Necron Pure. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
it's
could be
just
Necron
like
Pure.
the
Could be
might of
Necron
Necrons alone could really sing there.
Well, let's start it off with the Canoptic Scarab Swarm. We're just going to run down the units and then move through as we see fit.
Sure.
This is a 1-cost army. It's a drone.
Looks good.
2/2. All right, hold on. 2/2 for 1 cost. That's important.
That's very
also
good.
important,
No command.
the drone trait. Now pay attention to the drone trait. Remember that Tau has some good synergies with drones.
Eldar.
Searching for drones. Eldar has some. So drones, it's an important trait in this game, and it's important to pay attention to, especially when you think you can splash anything. Finding those synergies is going to be critical to a successful Necron deck. It has an interrupt. When this unit is destroyed, return a target Necron unit from your discard pile to your hand. To your hand, not to your deck. To your hand.
Yeah, no, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's
for
solid,
one.
right? It's solid. For one, a 2/2 drone, I think this is a great card.
Yeah, pretty solid. It's going to be very easy to include that in your deck.
Can you imagine that had a command icon? Thank you for not putting one on there.
Thank you.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be
ridiculous.
Too much.
Yeah, we don't want that.
All right, next up we have a 1-cost army, Warriors of Gidrim. Has
so cool.
1 command icon, and it's 1/1 warrior and Saltek.
Yep. Just like my warlord.
Saltek. Traded. This unit gains 1 command icon while you have 2 or more non-Necron factions among the units you control.
That's
very nice.
Unbelievable. So just remember that
2 or more.
Think about this with the warlord over here, right? So he's already wanting to diversify.
Yeah, you wonder who he wants to work with.
The second that this is a 1-cost 1/1 with 2 command icons, your Necron game is equal to anyone's on the command side of the board.
Yeah, you can
so
totally
good.
play
and
the command game,
especially the
and
fact
probably
that
win.
And you can continue to pump these guys back into your hand, and just like I think.
Yeah, the recursion is a big deal for Necrons. Man. So don't be surprised if it is on half of everything we see here.
Well, let's roll back into the Flayed Ones pack here. Moving up to the 2-cost armies, we have a 1 command, 3 attack, 2 defense warrior.
Pretty good for
already
2,
pretty
man.
Good. Forced reaction, though, after this unit is declared as an attacker, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. What were we saying about getting that discarded deck?
Dump.
That deck is getting dumped,
literally,
Robert.
They want to play out of their discard pile, which is going to be curious because this is one of the things in Conquest that you do have to manage is if you don't have cards to draw, you're out.
Well, let's think about it. So there's a good article about this. I think we mentioned it in another video. The fallacy of discarding from deck.
Correct.
And how players view that and understand that. Because I talked to a player like Matt Phillips, for instance, right? And so we're talking about
Local
thrones.
player?
We're talking about thrones. And it's like, you can discard or ashes even. You can discard some of your deck to have an effect, to do something.
Sure.
And it's like, well, what if I discard something great? What if my
Who's
one
to
of
know?
such and such
Yes.
gets discarded? And it's like, that is inherently fallacious.
Correct.
It is wrong. It does not work. The whole point is that it could easily have just been on the bottom of your deck, and you're getting closer to it.
Correct.
Right? So the numbers, trust me,
it's a
works.
zero sum.
It's
you have just as much probability to discard the thing as to draw it after you discard.
Now, let's throw another variable into this equation.
Maybe that's not exactly true.
Which is, let's say that we can also play directly from our discard pile. In that sense, our discard pile is now acting as a secondary hand from which we can draw tools.
With more control and specificity on your end of things.
In addition to
as we're already seeing,
in addition to our own hand.
We're only a handful of cards into this.
So this is actually a huge advantage to the Necrons, that they can be choked out of card draw from the command struggle and still have cards to play because they can play out of their discard pile. That is critical. So keep that in mind.
The thing that's going to drive me insane, I don't know or remember if it's here, is if we ever see a card that allows them to draw from their discard pile as opposed
that
to
would be wild,
their
right?
deck.
I don't know.
That's
man.
GG to me.
I'll tell you what, but being able to have
Terrifying.
a big old 13 card hand that's discarded there and picking and choosing the cards you play.
Yeah,
Unreal.
especially if there aren't really any restrictions like, oh, it's the top one or that kind of a thing. Anywho, next up is the Immortal Vanguard. And it is a 2-cost army unit, has 1 command icon, 1 attack, 3 hit points, soldier, and Novok. Novok, I don't know that. What's that KH sound
I don't speak Necron, but
this is an entirely different language group to me.
A little Russian there.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, it reads rather, each non-Necron warrior unit you control at this planet gets +1 attack and +1 hit point. Very impressive for 2, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
It's splash dependent, whatever you're enslaving will and must work with this card, otherwise it ultimately doesn't matter because it is non-Necron _ then warrior traded.
It's a very simple concept, and this has been confusing, weirdly enough, for a few people, there are 2 checks that you make when checking for this card. If you're wanting to give a unit +1 and +1, first check, is it a Necron? If the answer is yes,
does not apply.
Then you're stop. Yeah, do not pass go. If it is a non-Necron, then you say, does it have warrior in the traits?
Yes.
If yes, then both of those things are
You're
correct.
in business.
You're +1/+1.
And then is it at this planet?
And is it at this planet? That's right. So
Correct.
there's actually 3 conditions.
Yeah, so it is highly conditional, but if you get a passive +1/+1 and the capacity to stack, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a deck coming out of this warlord over here where he's only enslaving other warriors from other factions.
And he's working with Astra,
He's working
which
with
is
Astra,
just
he's working with Space Marines.
teeming with warriors. Ugh.
Be nuts, man.
Look at that horde of Necrons there in that picture there. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it would not be fun times. So what do, right?
Yeah,
what do you do?
You get enslaved.
You get enslaved.
Or killed.
That's what you do. What do we got? Is it me? Patrolling Wraith?
Yeah, Patrolling Wraith.
Okay, Patrolling
I think,
Wraith.
yeah.
Let's talk about this 2-cost army. Now, this is a giant undead dragonfly of sorts.
Facehugger.
Or facehugger, yeah. Much different concepts you and I had on that one. This is a 2-cost army, 2 attack, 3 hit points, a drone again, so keep that in mind. Drone is important.
A lot of drones.
Reaction, after this unit destroys an enemy unit by an attack.
Okay.
Okay, attack it.
This
destroy
guy.
it. Yeah, he attacks something and destroys it. Your opponent must reveal his hand
What?
and discard each revealed card with the same name as the destroyed unit. Now, the reality of this ability is that it is useful for one reason primarily. 90%.
Looking at the hand.
Look at the hand. Can you imagine, okay, think about going into a battle where you destroy, like, let's say you hit a 1/1 with your two attack guy, and you immediately know how much shield.
It could be a token, it could be anything.
You
It doesn't
immediately
matter.
know how many shields they have.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah,
That is why you're doing this. I mean, the fact that you might
It's
not
insane.
always get a unit discarded from
Yeah,
this
that's
effect,
like,
that's
whatever.
icing on the cake. Don't worry about that too much. Knowing in this game is a huge thing.
knowing.
How many shields? He has 0 shields, or he has 0 events. These kinds of
you
things.
just-
Or which events, that kind of stuff.
Supremely powerful.
It can change
that kind
everything.
Of information is supremely powerful.
You can solidify your plans and not worry nearly as much, if at all.
It's a true story.
Next up, we have the Decaying Warrior Squad, a 2-cost army with no command. It's a 2/2 warrior traded, then reading combat action. Deploy this card from your discard pile at a planet.
That's really cool.
This is insane.
They just always do it?
It's always there. He can do this. The Necron player can do this at any time, and through any round. Blah blah blah. If he has 2, he can bring a 2/2 into play.
So we've seen
amazing
how
to me.
powerful this can be for Astra, where they have the troop transports that are sitting on the board, and they can always deploy units where they need them.
Just bring them in.
Right. So like this is not quite as strong. It has there's some intricacies between the two. But the fact that if I'm sitting on two money, maybe 4 money even, I've got 2 of these in my discard pile.
Yeah.
Like nothing is a sure thing at that point.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do combat math, and I love, honestly, I love the games of Conquest most recently that I've played have had an element of just like the concept chaos, right? Where I honestly cannot fully account for everything that could happen, and so I have to take some risks and make some bets. And I like that. And this is another card that contributes to that style of, is he going to bring the Warrior Squad in? Is he not? Can I handle it if he does? Should I fight there if he won't? All sorts of things. So it's really important.
All sorts of things. And like, is it that combat squad, or is it another event in hand that costs 2? You don't know anymore.
You don't know. I don't know. I never know.
You don't know anymore.
But at least your opponent will know that you have these, and like sometimes that's even stronger.
Yeah, to me this is an auto include.
I would be so annoyed if I was playing against Necrons and there's just 2 of those in the discard pile, and I'm just like, you have all the control. You have all the control.
Yeah, you immediately have at least the thinking initiative in terms of what's going to happen next.
Ridiculous.
Anywho,
let's move to the Deathmark Assassins.
Deathmark Assassins, they are looking amazing. I'm scared of them. Yeah, 3-cost army unit. It has no command again. So that seems to.
We've seen a lot of this, right?
A lot of no command here, but they're beefier, I think.
And I think that this is kind of
a little bit beefier than average.
It's a balancing mechanism that is really kind of accounting for the fact that they do have that discard pile extra hand mechanic going on. And that's going to allow them to, and they also have the ability to create the greatest synergies in the entire game, right?
Yeah,
they can pull units in from anybody.
Just wait.
So like they're literally smashing up all the factions with Necron support. So they have to have some disadvantages. Command obviously would be a reasonable one to give them.
I like that.
They're not exactly holding strong points. They're just raising up and causing havoc.
I agree with everything that man said.
All right, anyway.
So again, a 3-cost army unit. He's no command, a 2/3 scout traded. That's interesting. And then reading reaction after the combat phase begins, discard the top card of your deck. boop. This unit gets plus X attack until the end of the phase. X is the printed cost of the discarded card. Until the end of the phase.
It can be bonkers.
It could be bonkers.
It can be nothing. It can be bonkers.
That was a 5-cost unit. He gets 5 attack. He's a 7/3 until the end of the phase. Not even the combat round. The phase.
I mean, talk about like warlord assassination, like you having the initiative, these kinds of things. These guys can be nuts.
Heaven forbid. Yeah, if you have the initiative, fear these.
It's weird. It's like, I'm just imagining that last battle, right? A lot of times there's that final battle.
I'm scared now.
Both warlords are present. Maybe both are bloodied, and they're going to need to retreat at some point. You're the player with initiative. You drop that top card. If it's a 5-cost, 4-cost, game is over. If it's a nothing, you lose. It's like that's kind of it's a weirdly random effect, but also there are potentially ways to stack the top of your deck to make sure that you get those kinds of cards.
Yeah,
I don't know
watch
that
out
we've
for
seen
that.
them yet. I think I recall seeing some in this box, but we'll get there when we get there. There could also be future effects that let you look and stack your deck, and so this could get really interesting.
I haven't seen something this intimidating to warlords since Crushing Blow. Honestly.
Wow.
Where it's just the icing, there's something that can happen that will just make this absurd.
Just a random number where it's like, if I hit my 5-cost, you're dead.
Yeah.
Oops.
Sorry.
Whoops.
Well, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry, indeed. And maybe this opens up high-cost Necron builds. High-cost Necron builds.
I'm already sold on that.
Even if you just hit a 3, if you hit another Deathmark Assassin. What if you hit a Decaying Warrior Squad, give him +2, then put the Decaying Warrior Squad into play. Deploy him from the possibilities are endless. This must be what it's like to be undead. It's like I can do anything.
I have all the options. Oh, or I have Eternity, which is another thing about the Necrons, is they are the most patient because their plans are inevitable.
All right, well, that's terrifying. Let's prevent that from happening.
They're already dead. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, what do you do? That's always been the dilemma, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Mandragoran Immortals.
Mandragoran.
They're all immortals.
That's it, yeah.
3-cost army. They look huge. Are they huge, or is that just a
I think they're in the
perspective
foreground,
thing?
yeah.
Okay. It's a 1 command, so here we got some command. 2 cost, or 2 attack, 3 defense, ranged.
Nice.
Good.
Nice.
Very good. As a man who has used ranged a lot,
I like
is a very good ability.
Good stats with
Soldier
range
and
for 3.
Satek. Action, sacrifice a non-Necron soldier unit at this planet to ready this unit once per phase. Now, shut the front door. I'm sorry, but if you we've seen range units that have a self-readying ability. Terrifying.
It is.
Dude, this is the Cadian Mortar Squad does this, and it's a 1/3. This guy is a 2/3 and could potentially be buffed with attachments or any number of crazy things pulled from other factions.
That's right.
I mean, this could be a terror.
Yeah. So watch out. That's an impressive little card right there. And he costs 3. I think that's a really good deal.
Another assassin here. Incredible.
Very nice. All right, next up we have the Tomb Blade Squadron. It is a 3-cost army, 2 command icons this time. Very nice, but 0/3 for its stats. Vehicle and Sautic. Traded no war gear attachments, then reading reaction. After you deploy a non-Necron scout unit, move this unit to a planet, then a target non-warlord unit at this planet gets -1 HP until the end of the phase.
This is one of those cards that I file into the category of too much text. I can't quite make a pass at it because you have to have non-Necron scouts in your deck. Then you have to have your enslavement dial set to the non-Necron scout unit that you want to play.
Correct.
Then you play that thing, which triggers this has to already be in play. You move it to the planet, -1 hit points to the non-warlord thing until the end of the phase. You have these Rube Goldberg machines where it's that might be useful. The real question is it worth 3 for a 0/3 2-command unit? Probably reasonable in a Necron deck because they don't have a lot of command. Maybe they need a little bit of a boost. And then if it happens to happen, fine. It's good. It's fine. But and
the
also,
free move, the free unrestricted move, the -1 HP, and it's still in the deploy phase kind of thing, depending on how sophisticated and or lucky you are with your deck building and that turn, all that kind of stuff. This is the kind of perfect storm nonsense that we all love to hate.
These Necrons, just the Necron faction, there's a certain type of player out there, and there's a lot of them
there's a lot
that are going to absolutely go insane. Literally,
the
this
artisan Necron deck crafters.
This box comes out, and the entire deck building brain it's going to take years. It's going to take years, even with the card pool right now, just to figure out maybe that's a little hyperbolic, but I'm always a little hyperbolic. Also, zombies using vehicles. I mean, is that not the most terrifying thing? Can you imagine? Like, it's one thing if they're just wandering around like.
But it's its own vehicle, is it? No, wait, it's riding something. Never mind.
I don't know.
It looks like it could get out of that thing.
Cartoon. I think so.
Yeah, because some of the Necron vehicles, like they are their own like sentient animated, if you will, using better Necron terminology.
I can't even wrap my mind around that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Let's talk about these reanimating warriors.
Classic
coming on here?
Classic Necron art right here.
3-cost army, 1 command icon, 2/2. So already we have to say, wait a minute. 3 cost for 2/2/1. At this point, that's a little under the curve, but about average. A little under the curve.
Yeah,
it's a warrior.
Warrior, that's the real thing that's telling me.
Perhaps we should read the card.
Perhaps, mayhaps.
Let's talk about this interrupt. When this unit would be destroyed by taking damage, remove all damage from it, and move it to an adjacent planet instead, once per phase.
Okay, so let's read it through. What does it necessitate to get this guy off the board once it's there? A, killing it more than once in a given phase. In a given phase, which is already a challenge. But otherwise, you have to do the hit point burning to just not deal damage, but just to debilitate it, and then it goes away. But otherwise, what a pain. And it has a command icon. This is already an auto-include.
Honestly, like
for 3 cost that you almost can't get rid of.
Seriously, it's so cool because if you've ever thought to yourself, I would like to really bully the first planet. Literally.
And get rewarded for it.
Literally, you just throw, even if you have 2 of these down on the first planet, what happens? Okay, there's one solution to this, is that you put your warlord on planet 2 and there's a battle. If that isn't happening, then planet 1 happens. Let's say you win that battle, they all move to planet 2. If you don't kill them that phase, again, they're on planet 1 again.
Yep.
And they're gonna keep doing that. And to me, that is the most Necron thing that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Just like you just keep stacking up and stacking up.
Well, like, hold on. Let me harken back, because I noted it, but then failed to read it.
This is just classic Necron.
Oh, it's the flavor text off of the Decaying Warrior Squad. It says, dismemberment is but a temporary setback for the Necrons.
Yeah.
So it's like they're used to this kind of business, and they will just keep coming and coming and coming.
Ridiculous.
The same ones, not like new ones. The same ones. I just killed you.
So not only,
and I have to do it again.
Not only are we playing out of our discard pile, we're shuffling things back in from our discard pile.
Don't like
it.
We
also have things on the board that are just not going away. I mean, it's just I think they've accomplished it thematically, what this should feel like.
Also, like how in the art of this Reanimating Warriors card, the Necron logo is right at the barrel of the gun, kind of like it's shooting its own logo at you.
Little things that matter.
That'd be awesome.
Tell me about this spider, Roman. What is this guy?
Canoptic Spider, with a clever spelling. A 4-cost army unit, 1 command, 4 attack, 3 health, drone traded again.
Pay attention to the drones.
Pay attention to the drones. This is the beefiest. No, it's not. There are some Eldar drones that are absurd, if not Tau. Yeah, I was about to say it's the beefiest drone we've ever seen. That may not be true. It's one of them. Anyway.
I'll say it. I'm the one who always exaggerates.
I'm hyperbolic here. Combat action. During a battle at this planet, discard a unit from your hand. We already know it's going to be good. To remove 2 damage from a Necron army unit you control at this planet. So Spider's there, another Necron unit is there, you discard something from your hand, and then it heals 2, and then it's in, that thing you discard is in your discard pile, which is what you want anyway, so it's like it's a win-win-win. So it's a little expensive at 4, but I think you're getting more than what you paid for.
I think this is a really solid, you have now the combination of
once per combat round.
This guy could single-handedly turn a battle against a myriad of forces, because this is what's going to happen.
Steven, limited once per combat round.
Once per combat round. Unbelievable. That makes it so good. But like, you have the combination already of shields in your hand to protect your units.
Yes.
Now units essentially turn into like faux shields.
Use and reuse.
You start to heal. And then let's say I put one of those 1/1 guys in to buff my other 1/1 at the planet to then swing for 2 next turn. You weren't expecting it, etc. There's
a lot of multifaceted pound for pound card efficiency that we haven't seen before.
I'm getting jacked.
Yeah, me too. This is like exciting and
like
terrifying.
A Red Bull.
Yeah.
You know?
A green bull, a green drone.
All right, let's talk about the Immortal Legion, a 4-cost army. Now we're getting to the goods.
Holy Terminator, Batman.
Look at that guy.
They're going to annihilate you.
2 command, 4/4 for 4. Okay, so this is like something
already
like
pretty good.
Assault Valkyrie.
The 2 command icons makes this, I think, the edge better than the curve for me.
Soldier and Sautek, Combat action, exhaust this unit to move it to a planet with an enemy warlord with a faction symbol that matches your enslaved faction. So, I'm sorry, but the ability for me to, and this is where this is going to get really good.
Dial it in.
Dial it in. First step, dial it in. Why this is going to be so good is that here's what's going to happen, okay? Your warlord, let's say I'm facing a Necron player. I put my warlord over here with a couple of units that I can take care of with Kato, for instance, or something like that. And I attack him, and I don't quite clear out this 0 attack, 0 defense guy. So there's like a Void Pirate over here and my Warlord, right? And so then the combat round is over. At the end of the combat round, right before it ends, I'm gonna go over here and put this guy there.
That's right.
So now we're all gonna refresh, and it's like, do you want to deal with a 4/4, or are you gonna have to retreat?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to retreat.
It's this bullying nonsense where it doesn't just happen at the first planet with Necrons. We've already seen one, if not a couple, of just move things to a planet, not necessarily restricted to adjacent, but there is some of that. But then again, here it's echoed in that just move it to a very specific place that you already, due to game rule fundamentals, want it anyway.
It's so good.
With two command.
I love these kinds of.
And he's
this is just
beefy.
This is the kind of super solid, just generally super solid units
that
I just love.
Yeah,
it's not doing anything fancy. It's just doing it right.
Dare I say it? Auto include.
No.
It's
nothing over 2 costs is ever auto include.
Fine.
I mean, to be fair, but in the right deck, maybe.
I will dial back on my enthusiasm.
All right, dial it back.
All right, next up we have a Praetorian Ancient, a 4-cost army unit, 1 command, 3 attack, 4 health, soldier traded.
Cool.
Yeah, and honestly,
it's like an undead Ithorian or something.
Yeah, coolest art I've seen in a while. That glisten, the fire, the weird, it's just awesome. Anyway, while you have 6 or more units in your discard pile, 6 or more units, I think that's already a foregone conclusion. This unit gets +2 attack and gains armor.
I read the rest of it and then I freaked out.
Okay, +2 attack is pretty good. Armor Bane is exquisite. Both is absurd.
A 5/4
absurd, man.
with Armor Bane.
5/4 with Armor Bane. Okay, to remind you, Armor Bane means you cannot shield it.
Cannot shield it. That honestly will be the end of a number of warlords.
No, if you can't manage to get 6 of any unit into your discard pile, and I think relatively quickly.
I think I could do that before the first combat phase begins.
No, good players will be doing that.
Yeah.
So count on this. This is an auto include.
Well, we can't throw that term around. Now you can't be hyperbolic as well.
I'm not hyperbolic. I said I was going to dial it back, and then it's like.
All right, so here's and the foil to this is right. It can be controlled like anything else. Once you get to the 4-cost units, especially a non-elite one. You can be retreated or routed, but the point is that this is an immense threat that you then throw at your opponent.
Yeah, and it upsets everything. You have to now you must respond to this. This is terrifying.
The thing that I like most about this guy ultimately is like with
5 is most every unit in this game.
With the warlord that you had, where you can deploy the topmost unit from your discard pile at any time, right? So let's keep that in mind.
Okay.
Anytime. Actually, check that warlord. Look at the bottom of the stack there. Look at the bottom. Make sure that it's at any point.
Wait. Oh, mine.
At any point, he can put it in. Is it a deploy action?
It is a deploy
action. Okay, so that's less good. But some of these Necron abilities that are pulling things in from the discard pile, like the threat of him just showing up is the most terrifying thing to me.
You're on pins and needles, and heaven forbid he's in your discard pile. And so it's
Can you put him in?
You can. I
don't know. Can you find a way?
You're sitting on some resources, and the sky's the limit on what they can do for this Necron player.
Anything that allows you to pop him in out of nowhere is going to be devastating.
Well, I was kind of studying this out a little bit more. I love this probably enslaved, looks like maybe Imperial Guard unit. Astra unit in the background, lower left there, who is obviously just like his time has come and gone, and he's now living in the shadow of this awesome unit. It's a beautiful thing.
His time has come and gone. Speaking of the shadow of an awesome unit, let's look at the Harbinger of Eternity.
Man, who is doing the art? Either the art conceptualizes itself, and these artists are able to just really render, or they have some of the best artists working on this art.
This guy looks like
it's amazing.
He's got a little Harlem Globetrotter vibe going for me.
I could spend this on my finger.
5-cost army, 3 command icons, 3 attack, 5 hit points, scholar, and elite. Now this is the kind of
something with scholar traits.
I've been waiting for a scholar that can do this.
And he's a beefy scholar at that.
All right, 2 things. You may play each Necron event card from your discard pile as if it were in your hand. That's the kind of thing a scholar can do. You may play each Necron event card from your
Not
discard
even
pile
the topmost.
as if it were in your hand.
Each and every.
However,
force reaction.
Because the first thing that I thought was like, well, then you could just play an event over and over and over and over.
If I have the resources,
That
what's to
could be
stop me?
broken. However, it says forced reaction. After you play a Necron event card from your discard pile, remove it from the game. Okay.
Worth it.
Now, we haven't seen the events in this box yet, but what we have seen is hate.
Correct.
And that's important.
Yeah.
Right? Even just 2 instances of hate, one right off the other, could be a very big deal. So I don't know, is this guy... It's one of the most confusing things in Conquest, trying to figure out if these big guys are ever actually going to be meaningful enough to make it into the game.
And worth noting that in a lot of the previews that have been on the FFG site in advance of the release of this expansion have alluded to and shown us some new cards that are coming our way that will speak specifically to the Elite issue, which is that we have for a long time now had cards that can essentially nuke anything without any necessary restrictions. So if it was an Elite card, something that was expensive, here's something that's comparatively cheap that just handles it.
Yeah. Just
boom,
route it.
Dealt with, Archon's Terror, that kind of business. But we're supposed to be seeing some of those tools in this box. We'll get to those. But I think this already
5x War Leader.
Yeah, is one of those kinds of cards that even though it's Elite and we haven't quite gotten to some of those responses to expensive card problems, I would run this.
I know, because guys, these are the cards we want to play. We all know it.
This is a fun card, and I just want to have fun playing this card.
We want to play it. Whew. So we'll see if we can get there.
Let's see where we get.
To take over this Like Guard Sentinel, tell me.
This art just keeps getting better.
Robert, regale us.
I can't handle it. Lynch Guard Sentinel, 5-cost army, 2 command great, 2 attack, 6 health.
Okay,
which is
that's not impressive. That's a 2/6 for 5.
2/6 for 5. Soldier and Elite traded.
But he's got a big shield, so maybe that means something.
We're already at probably one of the best conditional things going on for Necrons that we've seen. While you have 6 more units in your discard pile, it gets +4 HP.
So a 210?
210, just for 6 units. And then your opponent must declare a red unit named Lynch Guard Sentinel as a defender if able.
So if he's standing up, he is absorbing everything.
Yes.
What do you guys think about that? I think that's great. Now,
what do you think that shield's for?
I mean, there's some obvious foils here, right? There's some obvious foils, and that is that we have seen a decent number of if a unit takes damage, destroy it kind of effects.
Correct.
So you got to be careful against the Space Marines, especially.
Yeah.
But a lot of people now, I've played against Orc decks that stack up these big guys and they get them like 14 hit points, and it's a pain. It's an absolute pain. So I think he probably has a place somewhere. He's also a soldier, so there's some synergy there. And I mean, if for no other reason, just look at him. Play him because you like the way he looks.
Look at him. This guy's awesome.
All right, let's move on to the Doom Scythe Invader, a 6-cost army, 2 command icons, vehicle, Sautek, Elite, a 4/4, and it is flying. Also has no war gear attachments, if that matters to you. And the reaction after you deploy this unit, put a non-elite vehicle unit into play from your discard pile at this planet. All right, here's the story. This is incredible, and it always will be incredible. Any card that gives you this kind of value proposition is always good.
Yeah.
You bring a card in with you, you bring damage in with you, anything that you can just deploy non-conditionally, get it in.
It's okay for what it is without that reaction, I think, for 6. Like, it's just okay for what it is. You add that in, especially because this is an expansion, given the rules for rotation, it's always going to be in our playing library going indefinitely into the future. So just watch out. Any non-elite vehicle, given the splashing rules with the dial for Necrons, this can just continue to become awesomer and awesomer.
Like, I don't think like stuff like, I don't think like Assault Valkyrie, I don't think is an elite vehicle. That's a 4-cost.
It is not, and it's a 4/4 flying.
Can you imagine you have 2 4/4 flyings for 6? It's unreal.
And the Assault Valkyrie has like 2 or 3 command icons as well.
It's got like 2, I think, or maybe only 1. It's crazy.
I can't remember. But anyway, it's a great card. It's a great card.
Those Corsair, why is that Assault Valkyrie? So, like, it probably needs like 3.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be good? It'd be too good with the Orc guy, though.
Goodness.
Oh, look at this wildness.
Great. What the heck?
This thing.
Didn't we see this in the Avengers movie?
Is this an amusement park
Didn't this come out of a portal?
It's like that boat that goes up and down. The
boat?
Necrons like to have fun, too. Like in the amusement park, where you have the boat and it's like...
Oh, that thing. Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, the like pendulum swingy thing. Gotcha.
It's good for morale.
It's very good for morale. Okay, so this is the Doomsday Arc.
Skeletons board first.
Doomsday Arc. We have a Hulk. We have an Arc. 6-cost army unit, 2 command, 5 and 5 attack and health. Vehicle and elite traded. No war gear attachments. Area effect X. I bet I can tell you what it is. Yep, X is the number of non-Necron factions among units you control.
So obvious synergy over here with this warlord.
This could be bananas.
I mean, okay, so let's talk about
area effect X.
Let's talk
Even
about
if it's 2, that's a lot.
2 is a lot.
If it's 3, it's way too much. If it starts to get 4 or more, you're just winning games. They have to deal with this.
The story of this game is that if area effect 2 or greater ever goes off against you, almost always you are losing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that significant.
Well,
we look at the game where it is.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 health is
It's a
kind
warp
of
storm.
the health.
2 is a warp storm. Yeah.
Of the day, it's the way that health works. And if you can get to AOE 3,
forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
A phenomenal, terrifying card.
Is it good enough? I don't know.
Oh, can I read this one?
Yes, please.
All right. So
Robert got in. When you first saw this, you just...
I freaked out a little bit because I was hoping for a monolith of some kind in this expansion, and it looks like we got one. Of course, this is the Dread Monolith. It's a whopping 8-cost army unit. It has 5 command icons, 5 attack, 7 health. This is roast beefy o weefy. Vehicle and elite traded, no war gear attachments, and then reading combat action, discard the top 3 cards of your deck, win, then put a non-vehicle Necron unit discarded by this effect into play at this planet. Limit once per round. This is amazing.
Do you understand?
I do understand. This is insane.
Hold on.
A non-vehicle, not even non-elite, just a non-vehicle. So yeah, any would be elite even.
Harbinger of Eternity?
Well,
anybody?
it's even the potential bang for the buck. So it's sort of like, even if they do, hypothetically, yeah, exactly.
Praetorian Ancient?
Yeah.
Let's bring a 5/4 armor bane in for free, huh?
I can't handle it. Even if they do have some of those, what we alluded to earlier, those super cost-effective answers for expensive units, do they have enough for 2? And even if they do, it's worth playing it to find out.
Let me tell you something.
I would spend 8, because this is going to just dominate a planet almost indefinitely.
It'll dominate everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unreasonable. Obviously, it's very good. More importantly to me is like, you know that little planet that's like put something in for free in your HQ?
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, sure, drop the monolith in. Like just drop the monolith in your HQ and then just like put it wherever. Like next turn, just go and like see. Like that's just so terrifying. Playing against Necrons. Let's say I have 1 or 2 in the deck. Like a lot of times I'll just get discarded. They'll be fodder. But like, hey, I've got it in my hand and I go and I win that planet. And then it's like 8, just 8.
Yeah, top 3 cards. So you're gonna have to get a little lucky here.
Shut the front door.
But there are some things in here that can make it awesome.
It's just cool that it's that big. I mean, I just like that it's that crazy and just like nuts. All right, so there's the units, huh?
There's the units.
Shall we move on to the events?
Yes, please.
All right, let's talk about Reanimation Protocol. 0-cost event, 1 shield tactic, remove up to 2 damage from a Necron unit you control, max 1 per round.
Okay, so this is
I'm
one
moving
of
my hand
those.
like Bernie Sanders more and more every day.
So this is one of those. Given some of the things we have seen. Now, does this max 1 per round apply to the card itself?
Yeah. So this is a special thing. I've covered this before. This is interesting,
that's why
right?
I'm asking.
So max 1 per round actually applies to the entire deck itself.
The game state.
So it actually references cards that are in your deck and not yet in your hand and in play. So you can only ever play 1 of these per round.
Okay. Great.
Only ever 1 per round.
But and you know why? I mean, you could play this just twice for nothing.
I mean, yeah.
With what's his name?
Especially with the discard pile thing. So that's wild. I mean, this is just a standard Necron card. Is it good enough? Is it high impact enough to make it in? I don't know.
But it's 0 cost. That's the thing. It does have 1 shield, and I think we've all been in a spot where, and that's with the scholarly dude.
Yeah.
You can heal 4 for 1 card at 2 different points.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it good enough?
We'll figure it out. I'm optimistic.
Let's talk about recycle.
Recycle.
And this is if you can't reanimate. It's like the Necron chain of, it's like reanimate,
repair,
recycle.
Recycle.
Raise.
Yeah, so here we are. Raise. It's the 4 R's?
The 4 R's.
The 4 R's. Yeah. Reanimate, raise, recycle, repair.
Yeah.
This is one of those.
Yeah,
it's a 1-cost event. Captain Planet loves it. 1 shield, power traded, action, discard 2 cards from your hand, then draw 3.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah, you do this.
Costs 1.
I'm sorry, but you would never not put this card in.
Is this an auto-include?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm saying it. Yes.
Yes. I was hoping you would, because I would have serious questions.
Tell me a Necron deck that isn't going to want both of these things to happen every single day of the week.
So is
moment.
Reanimating Protocol?
No, it's not auto-include. No. This one is for sure. You're powering all of your juicy effects. I mean, it's like, do you want a deck that works, or do you want to just muddle around?
I just want to build a 100-card Necron deck.
2 cost event, Mechanical Enhancement is next. This would be in the repair category, by the way.
Okay.
2 command icons there, or shield icons in the case of events. Tactic, combat action. Each Necron unit you control at a target planet gets +2 hit points until the end of the phase. This can be just backbreaking.
The Conquest meta at large, the royal, things have come to light. The Conquest meta as a whole has come to the generalized consensus that if an event has 2 shield, it's
worth considering.
It's worth considering just for that alone. Yeah. This effect, in addition to those 2 shields, is redonkulous for 2 cost. Yeah. I want to say it.
Now, here's
but
the
I've been saying it.
Don't say it.
I've been saying it this whole time.
Because I will actually foil it. It is only correct in a certain style of Necron deck. Because if I'm thinking about old homeboy over here, Nahumek, he's probably going to have a board that's a lot more rainbowy, a lot more different factions being represented.
Diversity.
And
Pass it on.
Isn't exactly what you're going to want for mechanical enhancement. So, like, if you only have 1 or 2 Necron units per planet, it's not going to matter that much.
Yeah.
So certain Necron decks will make sense of it.
Totally. So next up is another 2-cost tactic with 1 shield this time, called Drudgery, and it's limited, which is interesting.
That could be good.
Reads action: put a target non-Necron unit with printed cost 3 or lower into play from your discard pile at a planet.
I love this card.
This is an action. It's unrestricted.
I love this
card. It can happen at any time.
I really do love this card.
Anytime.
I love that it's called Drudgery too.
Yes.
Because that's essentially the emotion that you will be feeling playing against the Necron. Exactly.
Again.
Didn't we just get rid of that guy?
3 or lower. Post in the comments, please, because I can't think of one of the more ideal targetable units for this, 3 cost or lower. But what, in your opinion, is the most ideal candidate for this?
I mean, imagine you just put like a random like Blood Angels veteran in. You know, it's just like.
Oh man.
You know, it's like.
But yeah, I always forget Blood Angel veterans cost 3 or lower.
Just put it in.
What's the Honored Librarian cost?
2, 3, 4.
4. Okay.
But you know, no, 3.
3.
3. It's 3 because you can put it in with drop pod.
Yeah, drop pod.
It's crazy. I mean, imagine all of this working together. Wow, drudgery indeed. Drudgery.
And I'm starting to get a little nauseous about these Necrons.
Woo!
Yeah.
I got a case of the vapors.
Speaking of getting nauseous, look at the art on this next thing.
All right, let's talk about it. Extermination, a 5-cost event, unprecedented.
This is gross.
Unprecedented. Have we seen a 5-cost event? I don't think we have. That's massive.
I want to say we have. I don't know though.
That's a huge 5.
It's a lot.
5 is,
like you're saying. It is kind of
unimaginable. And
whether
also,
we've seen it or not, there's not many.
Let me kind of. Robert,
look at that art. This is just
foul.
Necronic apocalypse.
Here's the thing. I don't know if
they have no respect for humans.
I don't know if the substance is going from mouth to blade or from blade to mouth.
Yes.
And anytime that's happening, I prefer not to know. It's a 1 shield tactic. It's a deploy action.
Okay.
Each
I just read it.
Non-unique, non-Necron unit at a target planet gets -3 hit points till the end of the phase. You must pass during your next deployment turn. All right, here I'm going to come out and say this. This is a fancy card, but it is not going to get played. I'm just saying, Robert. I'm just saying a 5 cost for a condition that can very well not synergize with your own deck because you have non-Necron units in it, very likely, right? There could be some unique things there. Uniques are more and more important and popular. So I'm just saying, I don't. -3 HP. It's.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I hope you are.
I don't think this is.
I hope you are. That is both, a wag of the finger at Steven and a boon of encouragement to everybody else out there who wants to make Necron decks. Run this card. Show us how it's worth it every time.
All that I'm saying
make it an
like,
auto-include. Show us the way.
This is the card that started out at 3 cost, and then people were like, "This is too good," and then Brad's like, "All right,
fine,
ramp it up," and now it's just not quite there.
But man, imagine if and when this goes off. We talked about area of effect ever hitting 3. Yeah. This is the equivalent of that. But then also worth noting, if you're playing a mirror match against Necrons, worthless.
Yeah, worthless.
More or less.
Which right now you might be, so
correct.
Run
the
caution.
Necron population skyrocketing.
Run with caution. Gauss Flare me.
I get to read this? Okay.
I think so.
It's a 1-cost attachment with 1 shield, Gauss Flare, War Gear, weapon. This is the classic Necron weapon tech, if you didn't otherwise know. Attached to a Necron army unit, combat action during a battle at this planet. Exhaust attached unit to give a target enemy army unit at this planet -2 HP until the end of the phase. So essentially,
this is the best attachment that I've probably seen for this kind of effect.
Targeted burn that
-2.
-2 is a lot. So it's like,
Bing.
there's something that already has just 2. Just bing, he's
Bing.
dead, or
Bing.
bing, I'm going to
Bing.
kill him anyway. This
Bing.
is great.
Bing.
Ridiculous. I love it. Worth
Ridiculous.
noting, it must be an army unit, so tokens and warlords need not apply.
Yeah, warlords need not apply especially.
Yes.
But the Royal Phylactery, wow.
Man, that is a beautiful hat.
Wild. Look at that, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, but if you have undead robots who also are recognizing rank and fashion and these kinds of things, then we've got a real.
And he's got these
on our hands.
repair scarabs all over him, just like
Yeah.
doing like real-time patching. Look, he got shot, and they're just like, let's fix it. Yeah,
Can you imagine what that would be like? Gosh.
it would be awesome.
Attached to a Necron army
Pure Necron.
unit, it's 2 shields, which is worth considering.
Worth considering.
After a phase begins or a combat round at this planet begins, so a phase or a combat round, remove 1 damage from attached unit. So it's a super heal. Now, obviously, you put that on the 10 health guy, and things get really weird.
When I'm thinking about
I just
here,
don't think this is going to.
Yeah, I'll need to go back and see how
slow.
many things again say no war gear and have a lot of the hit points that I would want to, that have the time essentially, hopefully, to heal a large trickle of units. But otherwise, and really to sell it to you, Stephen, for one, you can turn any any unit you want into a troll berserker from Warcraft 2.
Yeah, no, you couldn't, because if that were to be the case, it would be every fifth round
turn or whatever.
You might get 1 hit point.
Yeah, that was
the most
painfully
useless
slow.
ability.
It was like every 2 seconds, 1 hit.
And I always researched it because the tusks look so much cooler, but it was ultimately just worthless. The archers were 1,000 times better. But anyway, I don't think this is that strong, Robert. I think it's too slow.
I think you're ultimately
this game
correct.
revolves around focus fire.
But it does have 2 shields.
Getting units out the board, it has 2 shields.
And depending on like if you can build a deck around a real fat Necron unit that has a lot of hit points, it could be very nice.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be.
How about the Hyperphase Sword?
Ooh, it looks pretty.
2-cost attachment, 1 shield. It's a war gear and a weapon. Attached to a Necron army unit.
Okay.
Attached unit gets +1 and Armor Bane. That is always relevant.
Armor Bane is perhaps one of the best keywords in the entire game.
Always relevant. And action, discard a card from your hand.
best.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, discard a card from your hand to...
Ooh, to move it
to
move it to another eligible unit at this planet. This is the game-changing attachment I've been waiting for.
I got problems with this.
I got problems with this.
Yeah.
I got real problems with this.
This is extremely good. It's very cheap. It's relatively cheap to get it out, but then it almost costs nothing. But perhaps more accurately, it enhances your position. By shuffling it around. So that thing's probably going to die next attack. Just bink. Move it over.
Your entire. As long as you can keep your guys alive, your entire offensive will have +1 attack and armor bane.
Correct.
Swing here. But this is why this card is so
Just
good.
move it down the line.
So let's say I have initiative.
But again, you run out of cards in your library.
Yeah, that's true. Let's say that we have this big battle going on. I have a few cards. You have a few cards.
Okay.
I attack with this guy with the Hyperphase Sword first. Kill something easy, Armor Bane, whatever.
Sure.
Now you have an option. Do you have to waste an attack on the guy that is already down? Or do you not, and then instead give him the opportunity to pass that sword over to a new guy and then swing for another +1 Armor Bane attack? You know, it gets weird, and warlords get assassinated this way. I like this. I like the potential of this. Will it see it?
Well, that
Curious,
that kind of near the end sentence. Warlords get assassinated this way.
This is just how that happens.
Is correct. Is correct.
A Resurrection, another Harlem Globetrotter. Let's just make the deck.
Yeah, don't go to the courts against these guys. Resurrection Orb, 2-cost attachment, 2 shields, already sounding pretty nice. War gear traded, attached to an elite Necron unit you control. Man, they are making you double down this. So something is going to have a minimum equivalent cost of 7 resources. That's a lot of investment.
Nuts.
And then reading reaction. After a combat round at this planet begins, if the topmost card of your discard pile is a non-elite Necron unit, put it into play.
What?
At this point.
What? What is that called? Drudgery? Is it drudgery? Is that the
drudgery is insufficient to what this
and I know,
effect represents.
The thing is that I know the guy that's playing this deck. I know the person, I know the guy or the gal, I should say, that's playing this deck. And they are getting such a kick out of the fact that they just got a free 3, 4, 5, expensive units.
They just got a kick out of the fact that they're winning the game?
Yeah, they just won the game essentially off of this just like weird, I'll put this thing into play for free. Resources, incredible.
This is the kind of thing that ups the ante on even those cheap elite response things that we've been mentioning this whole, not podcast, but video.
Could be.
But that you now have to run them because the Necrons can double down on their elite units with a simple attachment like this. This is
I'm sorry, but this is
balance
insane.
Throwing. This will turn the tide. This will win the game. This does everything that you could possibly want.
Combat round begins. I mean, it's the start of the thing. Put it in the thing.
To play.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's go to the Mind Shackles Scarab, a 3-cost attachment. It is 1 shield.
Sweating?
It's a drone. Yeah, I'm getting sweaty. I'm talking fast. They got me all hot and bothered, these Necrons, which is weird because they're the least, I don't know, they're kind of just a strange phenomenon.
Yeah.
Attached to a non-elite army unit. Okay, well, we'll see the foil here.
Right, it does cost 3.
If attached units, okay, hold on, spoiler alert. Before you even evaluate this card, you're going to attach this to a non-elite card that your opponent controls. It doesn't specify that, but you're going to want to do it.
Okay.
Okay, so think about it in that context.
A non-elite your opponent control.
If attached unit's faction symbol matches your enslaved faction, remember the dial.
Okay.
Matches your enslaved faction. Just
dial it in.
Set it in.
Oh wait, you set it and forget it.
Dial it in.
You're literally setting it.
But don't forget it because there's a lot of effects that
Will it
require
keep 2 side dishes piping hot?
Exhaust this attachment to gain control of the attached unit until the end of the phase. Okay, interesting. Isn't that fascinating?
Ugh.
Okay.
Till the end of the phase?
Attached to a non-elite army unit, let's say it's a 4-cost.
Wait, how is this a drone again?
How is it a drone?
It's drone trading.
Well,
is this
right there.
can you sacrifice this for those drone effects that we were reading earlier?
I'm sure you can.
Did it say drone army unit? I can't remember.
Well, the guys, you guys,
if
everybody
it
out there
does
will
or
figure this
doesn't, I
out.
can't remember. It could be awesome yet on a whole.
This is
level.
where that staff is so important. Just
Yes.
set it, reset it, and then take the guy. Or it's just. If I'm playing against a Tau deck, maybe I just set this thing to Tau and just take control of stuff.
just set it to Tau.
Set it to Tau.
Set it to Tau.
Set guns to Tau.
Throw in the Tau.
There we go. Shout to Ben.
Throwing in the Tau. Yeah, that was Ben Ruggles' trademark.
All right, so we've got a few supports to
Trademarked.
get through, and then some neutrals for those of you non-Necron
Nudies.
fans that happen to stick around for the whole thing.
Yeah, we're going through some cards here. All right, so this is a 1-cost support, unique as well. Time-worn Stasis Crypt.
They have an eternity to pronounce things, so they may as well just lay on the terms.
They're like
there.
Ents. They would get along great.
Yeah.
Location
That's
traded, limited, and then reading interrupt when you deploy a Necron card, exhaust this support to produce.
Standard.
Standard.
About as good
we
as
like
it's always been.
This
It's all right.
is kind of an auto include. Sorry to say.
Kind of, but it's not though. I don't know. It kind of is. Depends. Like theory is changing on this now. Like people at the first, I don't even run this.
Their recursion may be strong enough that you can eschew deck space of these kinds of cards.
Or maybe it necessitates it because you're going to be deploying so often. I don't know. And you can churn it out with discards. I don't know.
We need some high-grade theorists on this.
I don't know.
Weigh in, please.
Let's talk about the weight of the eons or aeons. I don't know.
Eons.
Which one is it?
It's got to be eons.
Always.
I hope so.
1-cost support. It's an upgrade, and it reaction after a phase begins. Any phase after a phase begins. Exhaust the support to have
First one does the walking.
Each player
second one does the talking.
Each player discard the top 2 cards.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh my gosh, your deck's gonna be gone. You're gonna have every opportunity available to you. It's like you're gonna have a hand of 1,000 cards because it's
this
your
only
discard
costs
pile.
1.
Yeah, you're gonna run them. Run them.
Run it.
Run 3 of them.
This is an auto include.
Run it,
cost.
Charlie Parker. Run it.
Run it. Next up. What is that?
I'm just getting
Eternity Gate.
I'm getting overwhelmed.
1-cost support, upgrade traded, and then reading action.
We can't do all of these at once anymore. I'm just
Action.
like freaking out.
Okay, we need to.
I need a hot pocket break.
Settle down. Oh yeah, mellow out with a hot pocket and
I
burn
brought
your
some
mouth.
tuna salad actually today for lunch.
Really? Ritz
Yep.
crackers?
Made it this morning. No, but we've got those extra tortilla chips.
Ah, nice.
I just need a quick interlude from the cards, guys. I'm sorry. This is just like,
Need to take
I'm
a break.
gonna have a heart attack.
Need to settle down.
I'm gonna
Okay,
have a stroke here.
We still haven't read this. Action.
Okay, let's do it.
Exhaust this support to choose a card in the target player's discard pile and place it on top of that discard pile. In a target player's
So you're
discard
telling
pile?
me that I can control a top card, which will synergize with the effects where I put top cards into play. Wait a minute. Let's rewind. Let's flip the script a little bit.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's talk about the Resurrection Orb. Let me read that.
Okay.
After a combat round at this planet begins, if the topmost card of your discard pile is a non-elite Necron unit, put it into play at this planet. Exhaust it to choose a card in your target player's discard pile, place it on top of that discard pile. So you're telling me that I can choose any card on my discard pile and then put it into play with the Resurrection Orb, or with your Warlord's ability, these kinds of things.
Need like a barf bucket.
It seems really good. And you know what also is cool about this is Necron on Necron action is like a duel of Eternity Gates. It's like I'll use my Eternity Gates and put a bad unit on top of your deck, and then they, it's like that kind of a thing.
You're getting one of those measly drones. Haha, drones are good for me. That kind of stuff.
I don't know.
But
It's
no, that
interesting.
you're exactly right. This
We're going to be
again,
running into the problem of like how much utility do you need versus the actual juice, right?
That's true.
So you're going to have to
the
balance
juice
it.
is loose.
Let's talk about this one cost support, the Sautech Complex.
Sautech
We've been
Complex,
hearing all
is
about
that
these
like
guys.
a mental disorder
Yeah, I hope so.
thing,
I think I have it.
syndrome,
I
or
think
is
I
it a
have
place
it.
you've built up? One
I have
cost
it right
support,
now.
location limited again because these things are off the chain. Reaction after you deploy a unit after you deploy a unit from a non-Necron faction, that makes more sense. If you control no other units from that faction, gain 1 resource or draw 1 card. So the first and or.
It's fine.
But it could be the second if the other ones are dead.
I don't think this makes it.
It's not great, but I mean, somebody's going to like it. Somebody's going to like it.
Well, wet blanketing it. No, like it's fine, but here's the thing you have to realize, right? First of all, after you deploy a unit from a non-Necron faction, so here we have our handy dandy sheet. Number of factions. Some Necron cards reference the number of factions you control.
Correct.
When determining the number of factions, you don't count neutral. So do you count neutral on this? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think neutral is a faction.
Neutral is not a
You guys will have to
faction.
check me on that. So look that up.
I'm willing to
before
go
we
on
do it.
record and potentially be wrong to say neutral is not a faction.
But so here's the thing. I'm building my deck. I have Necrons, obviously, and I have neutrals. Okay, so let's say I have 3 other factions splashed.
3.
I have to first draw this card, play it for 1, and then I have
It's
to play
highly
the
conditional.
first one, and then I've recouped my losses, but then I play, maybe now I have 2 Tau units, the second one doesn't trigger it. I don't think it's...
This is the ice water bath I've been waiting for
Thank you.
to start settling down.
Maybe I'm just getting a little bit overwhelmed by how good a lot of these cards are.
The juice is being contained. Yay. Next up. Wait, is that my next?
I'll do the Master Program.
you
I
do
like
that.
it. Let's do a 2-cost support Master Program, unique, upgrade, action, exhaust this support, and sacrifice a drone card to remove not unit, to remove all damage from a target Necron army you control and ready it.
Gross.
Drudgery indeed.
That's fine. But moreover, I like the kind of tactical benefit that this lends. You have these beefy would-be elite units as well already in play, but if you have another drone that's about to get busted, anywho, because of combat whatnot, just go ahead and ice it.
Ice it.
Just heal up a whole mess of damage, ready it so it's coming in and going.
Let's not forget those like 0-cost drones in the game. The scouty drones and exploratory drones
and enslaved drones. Tau, Eldar, we're looking at you.
Whip. Look at this particle whip.
Crack that whip.
Crack that whip.
Dun, 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 dun. Particle whip. It is a 3-cost support.
Is it true that the Simpsons are closing are they finishing it up? I heard that they're going to finish the
Oh,
thing.
well, I mean, they have to. Everybody's dying
Guess
now.
it's
Honestly.
I guess it is probably time to close the door on that.
Yeah, when cast members are starting to die off at an alarming rate just due to age,
That's fair. All right, so let's get into this. Sorry for the distraction.
Right, yeah,
there.
we're getting a little sidelined here. We're just
Artillery
all revved
upgrade.
up by this. Okay, it's artillery upgrade and then HQ action. That's very interesting. Exhaust the support and shuffle any number of unit cards from your discard pile into your deck to deal X damage to a target non-elite army unit. X is the number of cards shuffled back into your deck. This
So
can
it's a
be
big old gun.
So again, but this is moreover, it's an offensive potency that can really, light people up. It's a little bit expensive. However, this is also the card that is the perfect hedge, would-be perfect hedge to keep your library fully stocked so that isn't necessarily the thing that with all of these discard stuffs going on that boots you out of the game.
Okay, so here's how this is going to work.
It's great.
Mark my words.
Mark it.
Here's the deck.
Set the date. What was it?
Particle
The
whips.
27th.
3 particle whips. Maybe you ally with Astra to get the support searchers that can, because that's relevant for this. I think that you can create a deck that gets 1 to 2 particle whips out, runs almost nothing but units, has those discard cards. So like you're discarding 5 to 6 units every turn.
Nothing but units and resurrection orbs.
And then it's seriously like you're taking out 1 to 2 units every turn with
and
these.
Gauss Flares.
I think that could be a very serious deck. This card could be a big
wait. How did we get to the point where Necrons, it just clicked for me, have both healing, recursion, mill,
Are you asking
and
why
burn.
is it that they're eating all of the pie?
And burn. Yeah. Just take it all. Just push it across the table and I'm just fine. It's yours. The one thing they aren't doing is command, really. But they have these elites that occasionally are like, I have 15 command icons.
And they can splash anything. So
That's
like,
true.
just choose the best command faction.
Ugh.
Splash it in.
Moving on.
Like they're gonna have the Tau drones for sure.
Oh wait, Braze Jeebus.
Here we
that
go.
was the last Necron card. So we can take a breather.
I feel like I'm got
Pause,
a hangover coming on here. Stretch it out, guys. You guys get out there.
Have a body
You guys
check.
dial it into Yoga with Adrian.
Yoga with Adrian.
You guys look it up.
She's on YouTube. She has like a quick, like,
up the 5
she may call
minutes.
it like a de-stress. It's on YouTube.
It's like a 5-minute
Yoga Adrian de-stress, something
check-in.
like
It's a
that.
body check-in.
She has perfect attitude for people who aren't necessarily into yoga, but just want to have like a quick little session.
Check in with their bodies.
Check in with
you
your
can
body.
do it sitting there probably at the
Feel a little
computer.
bit
There's
fresher.
really, you don't need a mat or anything.
Yeah.
You can just a lot
Just
of
push away.
little self-love.
Do some stretching.
All right, here we go.
Your card. Ooh.
We're back into the Freebooter Captain. Again, Captain spelled cleverly, as you said
It's
earlier.
a clever spelling.
A 3-cost army, 1 command, 3/3, and an ally. Okay, whatever, 3/3 is cool. Army units with printed cost 2 or lower do not count their command icons during command struggles at this planet.
Whoop, there it
They're
is.
gonna kill that poor woman. This Freebooter Captain can single-handedly destroy command math.
The thing that just sold this card actually for me is that captain is an orc with that gnarly hat on.
But he's also a freebooter, so he's just doing his thing.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
He's just going and conquering things. He's
It's
winning command
it's a
struggles for
lifestyle
the fun of
choice.
it.
Lifestyle
Now, is
choice.
this guy going to see play? I don't know, probably. But
Somebody will find a
He is
way.
truly a foil to the current command strategy that is in place, which is all these 2-cost and 1-cost guys with command icons out in the far reaches.
Swarm. It's like, here's all these cards. But those cards have been checked decently already, even with just things like Gauss Flares.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hit
Here's
points,
what you
minus
do.
2 hit points.
You throw a Freebooter Captain on a 2-card or a 2-resource or a 1/1 planet. You put a promotion on him, and you never have to worry about
And you walk
anything
away.
ever again. Yeah, walk away.
You walk away.
Just walk away.
Last planet. Ding. There he is.
All right.
Oh, do you want a command?
Now here's the card, right? Here's the card.
Oh, I didn't move on yet.
This is the card you've been waiting for.
Woo! Backlash. 1 cost, 1 shield. Tactic, interrupt when your opponent triggers an ability that targets an elite unit you control. Cancel its effects. Already great. Then, if that ability was triggered from an army unit, destroy it. It's perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. This will put
See
the
a Clivex War
terror.
Leader.
Yeah, see a Clivex War Leader. It's like, oh, I just paid 4, I believe, for Clivex. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, nothing. And I spent 4 for nothing. And he's dead now.
I think he's
not
3. Is he 4?
He's got to be 4.
Is he 3 or 4?
He's got to be
Clivex
4.
3 or 4?
3 or
You
4.
know?
He's 4. Yeah.
4. He's 4.
So this is it. This is a would-be 3 of. This is definitely a 3 of if you ever want to play any decent amount of elite units.
I think we all have, and we've seen this spoiled, but I think we all have to go back through our favorite factions.
1. That's the sealer dealer.
We have to go back through our favorite factions and say, is there a big things build for this faction? What does it take? What should I splash to make that happen? And then I can run through backlashes, and it feels good.
It's a whole new world.
If it feels good.
If it feels good.
All right, let's go to Defense Battery. This is a 1-cost attachment. It is artillery. It has 1 shield. You attach it to a planet. Okay, so imagine there's a planet there. I attach to it.
Okay.
After an enemy army unit moves to or from attached planet, exhaust it to deal 2 damage to that unit. So this is kind of this is an answer to like mobile and
annoying mobile junkies. Baharath is sad, sad.
And we've seen a lot of, even in this pack, in this box, and in past packs, of things that, you can exhaust them to move them.
Baharath
these kinds of
himself,
things.
but Baharath's Hawks or whatever.
I just don't. The thing is, I don't know what kind of a faction benefits enough from this, even foiling mobile and those kinds of units. I don't know what faction benefits enough to make this worth it.
Not Tau and Eldar.
I just can't. Even if if it's like Town Hall or bringing a lot of mobile,
but then again,
I wouldn't run this to counter it.
But the question, I think this is more like of a meta state card.
Yeah.
Has mobile gotten to the point now where it is too problematic? And as more and more cards come out, again, underscoring, this is an expansion. None of these are rotating out.
So it's kind of a universal perennial answer to what could be a future problem.
It's a tool that will trim a hedge if it gets a little too bushy.
That's fair.
You know?
Totally fair.
All right, next up we have STC Fragment. It is a 1-cost unique support, relic traded limited, limit 1 relic per player. Interrupt. When you destroy an elite unit, cool. Exhaust, it doesn't say cool. Exhaust the support to reduce, I mean, it is cool. It's
cool.
It's an achievement, unlocked.
Come on, Brad.
Exhaust the support to reduce the cost of that unit by 2.
All right, now again.
Okay. Did I say destroy? I meant deploy.
Shut the front door on this because, again, we have a very reasonable buff to elite units.
Yes.
Right? So every deck can run these. Limited, you run probably 2 or 3 of them if you're really doubling down on it. It's unique, so you can only have 1 of them out. And it's a relic, so you can't also run your swords
crazy
and
stuff.
Weird stuff, which
Talora
you don't really
Sands
need anyway for a lot of
yeah.
builds. But deploy an elite unit, reduce it by 2. I think this is relevant. Think about all of those 5 and even sometimes lower cost elites. I think there's some 4-cost elites, right?
No, 5 and only.
Never?
5
only
and
ever 5?
Only ever 5. That's a threshold for sure.
Seriously?
100%.
I swear I played this game a lot and I have never realized that.
5 and up.
Hold on just a second.
Let's wait for me to be right.
All right.
I'm telling you.
4 costs, 4 costs, 4 costs.
The internet is going
costs.
to be furious
3,
that you wasted their 5 to 6 seconds.
I'm sorry, guys. I did waste your time. All right, it's 5 costs and above. So basically, 3 costs. They become 3 costs, Robert.
Yes, which is amazing.
That's infinitely
amazing.
Better. Infinitely more manageable.
That's great. All right, what we're moving into...
I'm actually getting... Hold on, I'm getting jacked because I really want to go back into the Astra because I love playing Astra and looking at those big tanks and stuff and seeing if I can make something work.
Yeah, dude. The Lehman Russ, getting in.
Yeah, because it does essentially nothing.
Yes. But I want to play.
That's what you want out of an elite unit.
All right, so the next battery of cards, just to kind of preface it, are the other faction cards, the non-neutrals, but in a real faction. They will all have something that makes them playable, of course, for that faction, but ideal for an enslaved card candidate from a Necron deck.
And also, let me make sure this is the case.
Or, as a splash.
As a splash, because none of these guys are loyal.
Correct.
So think of these not as having the faction that they belong to, but as having factions next to them on the wheel or as a Necron faction.
He's so right. Everything else seems wrong.
Because we planned
why don't you kick it off?
All right, Ravenwing Escort, a 4-cost army, 1 command, 2 attack, 3 defense. Awful. Okay. However,
it's true.
While you control a non-space Marine Warlord, this unit gains mobile, slightly better, still not lighting the world on fire. Combat action, exhaust this unit to move an army unit you control at this planet to another planet. So, all right, Robert, I'll take the first swing at it. I know you had the inhale as if to speak, but
go ahead.
I have a lot of things to say
I need
about
to do
this.
some thumbing while you speak.
So Ravenwing Escort gaining mobile. So let me tell you what this can do, okay? It is truly an escort. I put him down on this thing. It looks like he doesn't want to be there anymore. He can mobile over to an adjacent planet, either direction, then exhaust himself to move an army unit now at the planet he's at, wherever that army unit.
You wondered why those batteries were included.
To another planet, any planet, right? Not an adjacent planet. So I can move over and move my big guy down to the first planet, these kinds of things. So I think the yo-yo effect of this guy is pretty incredible, but it's a 4-cost.
Can you walk the dog?
And I can totally
around the world. No, you're gonna around the world with this puppy.
I got my yo-yo a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was very impressive actually. It's like, where did all these mad skills come from? But worth noting that we do have a unit from the Necrons already that does synergize, maybe not to an impressive degree, but it was that guy riding his weird little bike, and I've already lost it. Tombblade Squadron, 3-cost army unit, when it reads specifically after you deploy a non-Necron scout unit. Here it is. Boom.
You can move some stuff.
Amongst others.
It's a lot of movement. I just don't know if it's all going to come together, guys.
Sure.
And it's a scout and a
Dark
Angels traded.
It will have mobile. I mean, there's some things that ultimately will make it worth it. However, it's conditional.
It's very conditional.
You have to be splashing it.
You can do a lot of movement, and I've seen people do this.
Nobody with a Space Marine Warlord will likely ever run this.
No, definitely.
That's all you need to really
definitely
know.
not.
That's the only really for sure thing about most of these cards.
Let's see about the
If
standard
it's in
bearer.
faction, it's not going to work. Okay, standard bearer. It's an Astra 3-cost army unit, 1 command, 2 attack, 2 health, soldier traded while you control a Astro Warlord, you may deploy this unit from your hand as if it had an ambush. Pretty nice. Then reaction after this unit enters play, ready an army unit control at this planet. That's actually pretty good.
I think this is super strong. It's
that's
super
pretty good.
utilitarian. You pay 3, you get to bring a unit up, and you get a 2/2 on the planet. It's a great combat
This is
trait.
borderline auto-include for a lot of people.
I mean, if I were Space Marines going into Astra, like, this is pretty strong.
Ready an army unit, you can.
This is really strong.
It has
Space Marine
ambush
Astra,
because it's
actually.
like, and you're already running these elite units are already incentivizing that should be hitting like a ton of bricks. Ready them again. They attack.
I think anytime you have a text
Ready
that says
powerful.
ready an army unit with no conditions,
Correct.
it's going to be worthwhile.
Only costs 3. I mean, it might as well be its own drop pod kind of a deal.
Let's talk about the 2-cost Goth Brawlers. It is warrior traded and boys traded. While you control a non-orc warlord, this unit gains 1 command icon, which makes him markedly better with a guy like Strachan.
Let's hear it for the boys.
After this unit readies, each player deals 1 indirect damage among units he controls at this planet. Pretty solid. Just straight up unit.
It's okay.
I mean, it's fine.
It's okay. Let's end the world on fire. It's
fine.
Yeah,
fine.
it's fine. Nothing to add. Next up, Venomous Fiend,
Just
a
a
5
disgusting
cost,
creature.
non-loyal chaos, 2 command, pretty nice. 3 attack, 5 health. I think this is okay. Cost for stats.
It's an elite and
Demon
a demon.
Slanesh elite traded. While you control a non-chaos warlord, this unit gains mobile. Reaction after this unit moves to a planet, deal X damage to a target enemy army unit at planet. X is the number of command icons the target unit has.
This is a wild
Has mobile.
thing, okay? So like, honestly, this is what I imagine. I don't know if it's gonna work like this, but you know how like early game, you have the outer reaches of the planets, and there's a lot of commands.
This guy's just clearing them all out.
Yeah, he just runs over there and he's like, the Venomous Fiend showed up. And he's like, and he's just moving from planet to planet all the time and just clearing out those command struggles, which ultimately Chaos wants to do. They want to play big guys, and they don't want to just lose commands everywhere. So instead of competing, they're just going to do away with them. They're just going to wipe them away. I love it.
I like it too.
I don't know if it's worth 5, but I love it. All right, look at the Treacherous Layman. Don't know if that's right. 2-cost army, a 4/1, and it's a warrior. No command icon, but a 4/1 is impressive.
It is.
While you control a non-Dark Elder warlord, this unit gains Armor Bane. So a 4/1 Armor Bane for 2.
Armor Bane, yikes.
This is wild.
This is already
Force interrupt
too
when this unit
good.
is destroyed, sacrifice another army unit at this planet.
There you go. There's the foil. But an army unit. Tokens need not apply.
But hey, like, let's say that you can, let's say that, are tokens armies?
They're not an army
Are they not?
unit. I
There's
don't
something
believe
in
so.
there. I gotta go back to
They
the
are not
rulebook.
an army unit.
Yeah, but it's a forced interrupt. So you have to do it. And let's just say you do this. Let's just say you put it with no other army units on the first planet.
That's right.
What do you want to do? What are you going to do? So I think it has potential.
You're going to lose something.
I think it has potential. I think people will find a way to make this work.
Next up is...
Oh, you got to love how this looks.
Nightshade Interceptor. Beautiful Eldar vehicle. 6 cost army unit, 2 command, 4 attack, 4 health, vehicle elite, traded, no war gear, attachments, flying, all one sentence. And then, while you control a non-Eldar warlord, this unit gains AoE 2.
It's a super strong unit.
Pretty solid. It's a little pricey, but...
It has to have AoE 2, I think, to be valuable.
Yep.
So you don't want to run it with Tau or with Eldar.
yeah.
And, we've got some tools now to make this. I mean, this comes in at 4 with the
Tau love
attachment.
this. Yeah,
with the
but I mean, a
support.
lot of people love this. It's pretty cool. I like this.
It's
beefy.
a nice solid unit. It's not doing anything fancy.
And it looks good.
It's not a reader.
I want to swoop in this thing.
It's not a reader.
Not a reader.
Let's talk about the Aircast Courier, a 2-cost army for Tau. It is 1 command icon, 1 attack, and 3 health. This is impressive already.
Why he's got a coin slot on his face?
I don't know, man. Plug it in. Scout and a pilot. While you control a non-Tau warlord, he gains flying. So that's cool. A 1/3 with flying is pretty solid. And exhaust this unit to move an attachment from the unit you control at this planet to another eligible unit you control. So he moves an attachment on the planet. He's fine.
cool.
I think a 1/3 flying for 2 and a command icon is super solid.
Yeah.
His scout and pilot.
And again,
if that
it's
matters to you.
one of those scouts again. So that whatchamacallit do that I can't remember his name.
Are we really going to try to make that guy work that hard?
It's my new mission in life, actually.
One card left.
Yeah, 1 card left.
Man, this has been a journey.
It really has.
Guys.
Thanks for sticking with us. It is a 2-cost army unit, Swarmling. Yeah, Swarmling. Termagant Aunt. 1 command icon, 1 attack, 1 health creature, Leviathan, Termagant Aunt, whatever you want to call it. Interrupt. When this unit is destroyed, put X Termagant Aunt tokens into play at this planet. X is the number of factions among enemy units at this planet.
So an obvious foil to the Necrons.
Correct. No warlord shenanery in this. This is just a straight up neat little thing.
I think this can quite easily hit for 2 Termagant tokens.
Oh, sure.
Which makes it great.
Yeah.
Hitting for 1 is okay. Obviously, hitting for 0 isn't really going to happen very much. So it's for
2, you're going to get 2 1/1s.
I think it's pretty solid. I think the Tyranids.
One of them, the first one had a command icon.
Solid for a Tyranid deck.
It's pretty okay. But yeah, it'll give them like a little bit of an edge against the Necrons.
A little gasoline there.
Well, just a booster. So there you have it, folks. This is Legions of Death expansion. It brings Necrons into play for Conquest. Yeah, there, needless to say, is a lot of juice in this expansion.
How does the brain handle it?
In addition to there just being a whole new faction.
Well, hey, let me tell you guys, we unboxed this whole thing. I hope you guys enjoyed it and loved it.
Yeah, thanks
Subscribe
for
to the channel if you want to see more of this. We also have war tokens compatible with Conquest for sale. They're newly redesigned as of December or last year. So if you haven't looked at those again,
check it out.
Take a look at them. They are drastically improved and a fantastic token set.
And we have subscriptions too. So if you want to get in on the upcoming cycle or cycles even, as well as all the expansions that are going to come out from this game, just sign up. We'll send them automatically to your front door.
It's seriously the best deal out there.
Set it and forget it.
I've literally compared
the
numbers. It's the best.
Loves it.
So thanks guys for watching. We'll see you again later on, and take care.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Be
Take
safe.
care.
Be happy. Enjoy.